Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode 3 of Crime and Unwind with Aixa and Denise. Thank you again for joining us. Let's get into it. Straight into it.
All right. You know the deal. Our wine of the day here. We have our wine from Allegro Winery here. So they are a winery out of Stewartstown, Pennsylvania. They have a very big, very nice selection of wines here. On their website, says they ship to 38 states, so you can actually, if you're not from Pennsylvania, can access them in your stores. You can actually get them shipped. They ship to 38 states, so they have a wine club also online that you can join and get wine delivered to you here regularly. They have a winery that you can visit in Stewartstown, Pennsylvania, and a wine tasting room. We've tried several of their flavors, and they're actually really good. I love their little colorful decorative bottles here.
So cute.
Today's wine is the Punk. It's a sweet rosé wine. I know. I always get ahead of myself. I waited.
You did.
Oh yeah, this is really good.
It's good.
Really good. I love me a good rosé. I like this a lot.
And it's not too sweet. Because usually rosés are on the sweeter side.
Not all the rosés I've tried some pretty drier.
The ones this one's good.
Yep,
but the ones
good.
I tried, they're like a little on the sweeter side, and I'd rather not be too sweet.
Too sweet? Yeah, that's good. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, so let's get into our crime today. So today we're bringing you 2 unsolved cases here from local York, here in York, Pennsylvania. One, a resident of York, Pennsylvania that was lost elsewhere, and then a local resident. All right, our first case, Tina Knaub. Tina was an 18-year-old mother of 2 from York City here. This is in 1984, so she graduated with the class of 1983 from York County School of Technology, or OTech here. Tina was described to be 5'3", 115, little thing, 115 pounds. She was described by her father, Tim, as feisty and streetwise. So she was a little firecracker, apparently. At some point before graduation, Tina met John and became pregnant with their first son, Jonathan. So Tina and John shortly then moved in with John's mom, Doris. A bit after moving in with Doris, they did eventually get their own place here on 337 West Market Street. John would later go on to say that, his and Tina's relationship grew cold or fizzled out. Now she did eventually get pregnant with their second child here while they were at their apartment here with their second daughter, Jennifer. So John said that they were basically living as roommates. Their relationship fizzled out. They stayed together for the kids, but he was sleeping on the couch, supposedly. Now, Doris has said, and I'm going to talk a lot about Doris because she seemed to have a lot to say about Tina. Doris said that John became concerned about their children because Tina began socializing with a rough crowd. She began going out with her friends and would leave John alone with the kids, and he said he was concerned.
Typical thing that a young mom
Doris
would
says
do.
that they would often break up, get back together, but apparently Tina turned into this free spirit that kind of wanted to just run. So in the month prior to Tina disappearing, Tina and John allegedly, so this is alleged, none of this is really confirmed, had some sort of falling out. And apparently because of this falling out, he moved in with the woman upstairs. Now again, this is supposed, nothing confirmed. Now John denies
travel far.
Yep, John denies this. So there's some confusion that exists as to the timeline, because like I said, some people are saying that they had this falling out because he was hanging out with the girl upstairs and supposedly moved in after a fight that they had. But John has said he didn't start dating this neighbor upstairs until after Tina disappeared. Supposedly. Again, I'm not saying. Now, witnesses are saying that John was moving back and forth between the 2 apartments. So which one is true?
I mean, it would make sense. They're all young.
Yeah, nothing is
You know.
confirmed. Nothing is confirmed. But again, John is stating no, he didn't date the neighbor upstairs until after Tina disappeared, but he done married her 6 months after Tina disappeared. Now, they did eventually divorce, but again, the timeline is a little iffy. So Tina's friend Lana said that Tina left John. The day that she disappeared, she said that Tina left John because he was messing around with the girl upstairs. So apparently this was the fight that caused Tina to run that day. Now again, John is saying that didn't happen. But Doris...
That the argument didn't happen?
No, that he wasn't messing with the girl upstairs until
Okay.
after she disappeared. But Lana's saying that, Tina left that night because she had a falling out with John about the neighbor upstairs.
Okay.
So Doris, again, John's mom, Doris actually acknowledged that John did move out because it was Tina and him fighting about the girl upstairs. So Tina supposedly kicked John out. At one point in time.
No. This was their apartment.
Their apartment on Market Street,
Okay.
yes. So Doris acknowledges that John did move out, but she says it was because Tina kicked him out because of the girl upstairs. So Doris, again, John's mom, contradicting John's statements of him dating this girl upstairs after Tina disappeared. Now Doris is saying, yes, he did move out because Tina kicked him out.
Yeah.
But this happened supposedly, according to Doris, this happened months before she disappeared. So
this
again,
argument? Or that he got kicked out?
That Tina kicked him out.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
Tina
so that's
kicked
very
him out.
confusing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The timeline is all over the place.
Yeah.
So Doris is contradicting her son's story. Witnesses are also contradicting John's story. So they're saying, this has been going on for a while. He's been messing with the girl upstairs.
In and
Tina
out.
were constantly fighting back and forth, upstairs, downstairs. So, I don't know. A friend of Tina's, her name Kelly. Kelly's supposed to be Tina's best friend, supposedly. Okay. She told police that when things got bad between her and John, she would often go over to Kelly's house. And if she didn't go over to Kelly's house, and if she went to some other friend's house, then she would definitely call Kelly and let her know where she was. Now, when she wasn't at Kelly's house, Kelly said she would go over to Wendy's house. Now, Wendy's mother, Joan, Joan told police that when Tina would come over to her house, her and Wendy's house, that John would call after an hour to check on Tina and tell Tina to come home.
Right.
Joan said that, she never received that call the night that Tina disappeared. Now, John is saying he never ever called Joan when Tina would leave. So again, conflicting stories.
Yeah.
He's telling the truth.
Yeah.
He's saying he would never call her. Joan is saying he would often call her, check, is Tina there, tell her to come home. John is saying he would never call her.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure.
Right.
I'm not sure. So according to police, on a police report, on February 24th of 1984, an argument did happen with John, and Tina left around 10 p.m. So again, whether or not they were arguing about the neighbor upstairs, possibly, more than likely. Tina was supposedly going to visit Wendy. Now this, again, unclear and unconfirmed, but she never made it to Wendy's house. Now, she did visit Lana, and we spoke about Lana before, and Lana was the one that did say that Tina knew about John and the neighbor upstairs for a while. So she did visit Lana, so technically Lana was the last person to see Tina alive.
Yeah.
And I'd like to come back to that because this is weird. So she did go visit Lana on the 24th. So according to Lana, Tina went to go say goodbye to her. She said that she was feeling overwhelmed. She became a mother too quick, and she was just overwhelmed with the stress of raising kids and no job, no money, which is odd because it's not that she was by herself. Even
exactly.
Even if they weren't together, it seems as though John
was present.
Yeah. Exactly. So according to Lana, she came to say goodbye to her, but she didn't tell her where she was going. And Lana says she didn't think that she was going to be leaving her kids, but she was telling Lana that she was stressed out about being a mom. Yeah. A little bit off. So I wonder why they didn't question Lana more. Right. She was, again, technically the last one to see Tina alive. So February 25th, so this is, again, the day after that, when Tina didn't come home, John did call Tina's mom, Ira, to see if she was over there. She wasn't. So she didn't call Joan. He didn't call Joan like Joan says he would call.
Right.
So,
Right.
but he did call Tina's mom. On the day afterwards, the 26th, I guess they waited to see if she would show up. 26th, Tina's mom, her sister, and John did report Tina missing to the police. Now, mom says that Tina would never leave the kids, that she was always with the kids. And, you know, they were always with her, and she had them all the time. Now, John is saying that Tina had a habit of hanging out with friends.
And leaving the kids to him.
Yes. So, again, this is conflicting. And now, Lana's saying that Tina ran, or not necessarily ran, but needed a break.
Right.
You know, because of the kids and the stress and all of that. So,
and then, like, if she left, right, because she needed a mental break or whatever, Lana being her friend, don't you think she would have shared that to her? Like, listen, I'm going to have my kids, I'm going here. You know what I mean? I'm going to be, you know, we'll talk when I get to point C, wherever.
Yep.
It was just weird that she knew nothing except for the fact that she said she was overwhelmed.
Yeah. And
that she became a mother too young. Like that, it's a little weird.
So it doesn't, a lot of it doesn't make sense. Yeah. And again, the timeline is all over the place. Our weekly music.
Never fails.
Oh man. So yeah. So again, Lana, last person to see Tina, saying she was overwhelmed, was running away. Tina's mom is saying she would never leave her kids. She had her kids all the time. So police were familiar with Tina from her juvenile years. So apparently Tina used to run away a lot as a kid. Yeah. So I'm not sure if this was a pattern. You know, when things got a little tough, Tina ran.
Yeah.
But
sounds like it is.
It could be. It could be. All right. So 15 months after Tina disappeared, 2 York High students, William Penn students here, Troy and Richard, they skipped class to go through rocks down by Doris Creek, down by the underneath the Princess Street Bridge. They skipped class to go throw rocks and smoke cigarettes, according to them, right? So they saw this boulder that they didn't like, and they wanted to pick it up and toss it. So when they picked up the boulder, they were like, wait a minute, this isn't a rock. It was a skull. So at first they thought it was an animal skull.
Yeah.
Until they noticed that, no, this is human.
Yeah.
So initially they weren't going to report it. They were going to go back to school.
Really?
Yes, they were going to go back to school, but they did decide to do the right thing, and they ran the 2 blocks to City Hall.
Yeah.
Yes, and they did report it. Now, the day that the newspapers published that an unidentified body had been found, Doris, again, John's mom, Doris, she called YDR, the newspaper company, to say that she suspected it was Tina. Why would she do that?
Stop!
She did. She did.
Why did she suspect that it was Tina?
I don't know, but I'm gonna come back to Doris.
So crazy.
So when the police did come down and search and, you know, see what it is that these boys found, they described it as a makeshift grave of rocks.
Right.
They did state that whoever buried her, they did so with care because none of her bones were broken.
Like, so, very meticulous.
Yeah, so either whoever did it really cared about her, or maybe they were just OCD.
Yeah.
So the only thing that was left of Tina were her bones.
And did they say like it was like pieces of clothing?
So she did have a t-shirt on. It was pieces of a winter jacket.
Yeah.
And I'll get back to the jacket, and she had on some corduroy pants. Now, the only way to identify her, because it was only bones, were through dental records. Now, the police were so confident that this was actually Tina that they didn't compare anybody else's dental records. They only brought Tina's. You know? So they was like, no, we're so confident it's her. We're not going to compare her dentals or her teeth to anybody else's but Tina's, because we're so sure that it's her.
Why were y'all so sure?
I don't know. But it matched.
Yeah, I mean, coincidentally.
Yeah, it matched. So again, she was wearing that t-shirt, pieces of winter jacket, and corduroy pants. Now, they're saying that her pants were unbuttoned and the zipper was pulled down. Now, they weren't able to do any toxicology reports or any, sexual assault tests because of what was left.
There was
nothing there, so they couldn't really tell, or autopsy couldn't even determine her cause of death. Now, this jacket, they're saying, and it hasn't been confirmed, again, this is all alleged, they're saying that the jacket was a bit too big for hers and wasn't even hers. They're saying the jacket may have been John's. But again, this wasn't confirmed. So her wearing John's jacket.
I mean,
Now, John, he does acknowledge that he's a suspect, but he maintains his innocence. He knows, the first person that they're going to look at is the boyfriend. Now, he says he knows this, but he's willing to talk to as many people as he needs to, do as many interviews as he needs to. They can come check out whatever, and he still to this day will maintain his innocence. Now, they're saying that Richard, one of the kids that found Tina, they're saying that her remains was also inside this big contractor trash bag. Now, again, this wasn't confirmed and it hasn't been released. But a contractor those big trash bags, not everybody has access in their house.
Yeah, that's strange as well.
Yeah. Now, Tina was found 15-minute walk from her house, from her apartment. Now, and it was also in the opposite direction of the friend that she was supposed to go visit.
Okay.
Kelly. Now, it was said that Tina often walked the bike path by herself at night. Again, she
very free-spirited.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, Doris, again,
the mom.
Doris has said that she once seen Tina walking the bike path at night by herself, and told her she shouldn't be walking by herself. And Tina said, "No, I'm not scared. I can take care of myself."
Yeah.
Okay. Again, Doris seeing her on the bike path, telling her that Tina does this often. She walks the bike path by herself at night often.
Yeah, that's so strange.
So in a 1990 episode of Crime Stoppers, the show, they did cover Tina's story.
Yeah.
Now, in that show, they revealed that there was an anonymous female tipster that called in to the police in the spring of 1985. And she said, and I quote, "I want to tell you who killed Tina. I have to hurry before they come and get me. We were having a pot party. Her, me, Steve, and Wayne. They got into a fight, and then the line went dead." But that tip was never confirmed.
That's crazy.
That tip was never confirmed. They never found any Steve
Was
or
it
Wayne.
or yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know.
It's so many theories
Yes,
that you can,
but
that
all
you
we
can
have
think.
is theories because there's no evidence. There's literally no evidence at all. 2016 newspaper article. It had the last update on her cold case here. Now, they did in 2005 test DNA of the evidence that was around her. They tested DNA on a Fanta soda can that was by her remains, and they didn't find anything. Again, there's just a lack of evidence here.
So many holes.
Yes,
So
and the
many
timelines
holes.
are all over the place.
Yeah.
Now, John stating that he didn't start his relationship with the upstairs neighbor until after Tina disappeared, and Doris's mom has conflicting statements. He said, yeah, Tina kicked him out and he was dating her, and witnesses are saying he went back and forth between her. Now, if he was going back and forth between her, I don't see why he would have reason.
Yeah.
If he was already doing what he was doing. Now, according to John, Tina was out here. She had friends that he didn't agree with. She was staying out, doing whatever according to John. So maybe, Tina had friends that no one was aware of.
Could be.
And then back to Lana. She was the last person to see Tina alive. And speaking of Lana, Lana was quoted saying, "Somebody hurt Tina. Somebody hurt Tina bad." How do you know that?
Yeah, exactly. And
How do you know
if
that?
that's what you know, then why aren't you saying more?
Exactly.
And why aren't the police trying to investigate her even further?
Yeah, so her cause of death was never revealed. It
No.
was never determined. So how do you know somebody hurt her?
That's fishy.
I don't know.
That's
I don't know.
fishy.
So this one still remains unsolved. Her father Tim unfortunately passed away in 2018. Now, he initially also thought it was John. Of course, boyfriend's always first. But
Always, yeah, they're always the first suspect. But like you said, what reason
Would he have?
Yeah, what reason would he have to harm her?
And I feel I don't know if Doris just didn't like Tina.
I mean,
it's
from the little bit it kind of sounds
always
like
has
it.
something negative to say about her.
Yeah.
It made her look like she was just wanting to be out there, out in the streets, and not taking care of her kids. I don't know.
And again, this was in the 80s, so technology and all the fancy stuff that they have now wasn't available back then, and they said it was a pop party. You know what I mean?
Could it have been an OD?
Yeah.
She was doing more than
Exactly.
I mean, this was
Exactly.
in the 80s. That's always a theory
Exactly.
and a possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. This one's still unsolved. They still. Now they were looking at, you know, other theories, other possibilities, other suspects. So apparently there was this serial killer out of Harrisburg that was killing women.
What?
But
that they were saying that could be linked
that
to
could
her.
have been linked, but they didn't find any real connection. And all his victims were in Harrisburg. I don't think any were ever found to be here in York.
Yeah.
So
that wouldn't
that
make
didn't go
sense.
anywhere.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know.
It'd be interesting to, not that the kids would remember, just to kind of, see where they're at and
Right.
how they feel and,
Right.
I don't know. And like why with the information that they have today, like as far as like lie detector tests, why wasn't John, like summoned or whatever to, ask
I mean,
to-
but he says he'll answer any questions and, speak
Yeah.
to whoever, so I'm not sure.
That doesn't sound, if he's so willing, that doesn't sound like someone that would be.
I mean, we may never know.
I know, that's so crazy. It's so crazy. So crazy. All right, so let's get into our next story. This is the disappearance of Jason Knapp. Jason Knapp is a York native, born on December 30th, 1977. He was described to be a perfectionist who loved the outdoors and was an avid bike rider. Jason graduated from Central High School in 1996 and went on to attend Clemson University in South Carolina. It was said that he did exceptionally well academically. Jason would go and become an ROTC student, you know about that, at Clemson University, and he did pledge to the National Society of Persian Rifles, which apparently is an elite military organization. So on April 10th, 1998, Jason calls his mom, Deborah, to share his exciting news that he has been inducted into the Persian Rifles. And that he and a friend at that point, at some point at that day, they were going to look for apartments. Unfortunately, this would be the last time that Deborah would hear from her son. April 11th, the next day, Jason was seen by his roommate. The roommate stated that he had last seen Jason watching a movie at 10:30 that night. But that was the last that he had seen or heard from him. After not returning to their apartment a couple days later, his roommate did become concerned and reached out to his parents.
Okay.
And this is where the chaos or the timeline begins. On Friday, April 17th, 1998, Deborah stated that she called the Clemson Police Department and talked to an officer. They went and did a welfare check in the apartment, and they also began checking local hospitals, just to make sure that he wasn't in one of those hospitals and they just didn't reach out to the parents.
Right.
After all that fails, they didn't come back with anything. Yeah, they didn't find anything, so on that Saturday, Deborah and Jason's father, they decided to head down to Clemson to meet with the police department. And at that point, the police department had not found any leads yet. Okay, so on April 21st, 9 days after Jason's disappearance, they did find his white Chevy Beretta abandoned in a rugged area of Table Rock State Park.
Okay.
That's in Pickens, South Carolina, which is about 30 miles from the campus.
Okay.
They did speak with the superintendent of Table Rock, and he did tell them that Jason's car had been sitting out for 9 days, but that no concerns or no red flags was, felt because they thought he might have taken a 7-day trail that many take. And the reason why was because he had ROTC in the back of his car, so he assumed that he was on this 7-day trail. Then on day 8, the ranger thought that Jason might have gotten tired and that he called someone to pick him up and that he would later come back to retrieve his car, which is so weird. If you're tired and okay, cool, you call somebody to come pick you up, but don't you want them to take you to the car so you can drive home? Like that didn't make any sense. Now on day 9 rolls and the car's still there, this is when he decides to call the police.
Okay, so he did call the police eventually.
He did.
After 9 days.
After 9 days. After 9 days. So inside the car, they did find a Wendy's receipt, which it almost looked like it was just for one person. So it seemed as if Jason was alone. It was believed that he drove to the trail on April 12th, again, presumably alone, but again, that is unknown. He did enjoy mountain biking, but according to Deborah, Jason didn't like to do anything by himself. So Deborah stated that if he couldn't find someone to do it or do something with him, then he didn't usually go. So she says how he ended up there to this day is a mystery to everybody. I mean, you would think mom knows best.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm gonna go, or if let's say I decided to go on a hiking trip or walk a 7-day trail, I'm not going by myself.
I wouldn't either.
So it's just little inconsistencies that just doesn't really, yeah. So they have been searching for Jason for years following his disappearance at Table Rock State Park to no avail. Now this part just is so sad. In 2017, Deborah Knapp and Jason's father began the process to declare their son legally deceased. On January 31st, 2018, Jason was declared dead.
Oh man.
So the reason why that they did this, because at that point it had been 20 years already. And Deborah said, his father's sick, he doesn't have much time, and I'm getting older and I have my own health issues. So she didn't want to leave this unresolved for someone else to deal with.
Okay.
So she says, it gave us a chance to say our goodbyes in our own way. I won't say closure, but there is no such thing. Even if we find out what happened to Jason and maybe find the remains, we're never going to know all the answers.
Right. Wow.
So it's very, very sad. She also said, things keep changing, everybody's life moves on, and mine's is still stuck in 1998.
That's so sad.
She said, my future is gone. 1 year after they had declared his death, his father passed away. So officers with Pickens County Sheriff's Department, located in South Carolina, they have continued to work on Jason's case since the beginning, and to this day, they still push for those leads. I mean, they've gone as far as pursuing leads from people who claim to have supernatural insight. I mean, when desperate calls, you take desperate measures, but that again, never led to anything. Deborah has since then traveled every single year to remember her son, excluding the time from 2020 to 2022. Obviously, pandemic kind of shut us all down. She's placed a bench in the botanical garden at Clemson where she sits and writes her son's letters. She laminates them and brings back the letter along with yellow roses or flowers as a sign of hope to put on the bench. Mm-hmm. So they still, till this day, very much still have the hope to at least find something. At an interview with Fox 43, Deborah said, it isn't easy, but I've learned to deal with the grief and do what I need to do. So on her last trip, 2023, she did buy 25 yellow carnations at a military plaza.
25 years?
Yep, alongside her letter to Jason. She feels in her heart that there's somebody out there that knows something or that has key information of what happened. Maybe not necessarily involved to what happened or his disappearance, but know someone. Because at the end of the day, or know something. Because at the end of the day, again, this is a place that people come from all over the world. So she says somebody somewhere has to know something. So the NCMEC, which is the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, they do release from time to time age progression photo of Jason, something that they've been doing since 2006. So the members of NCMEC will continue to pursue Jason's case and provide updated photos. So as long as hope exists to find him. And I feel like as long as his mother is alive, there will be hope, because she will always feel that there's hope.
Wow.
So he went missing at 20 years old. Jason was about 6 foot tall and weighed about 150. He was last seen wearing a t-shirt, blue jeans, blue sneakers, and possibly a hat with the Army ROTC insignia and a watch. Had a faint scar on the knuckle of his right middle finger. So, we'll definitely pop up the number to the Clemson Police Department, but if anyone with this information, or anything relating to Jason's disappearance, they should, contact
Absolutely.
the Clemson Police Department. With anything, anything and everything counts with this case, as there's still hope that they at least find
Anything.
something.
Yes. So this is another one where there's just a lack of evidence, and he had just moved to South Carolina, so he didn't have a lot of friends or a lot of people that knew him.
He didn't have like a solid group of people that they could ask,
Yeah.
like what was he like, where did he go, where did he hang out. And what was funny to me is that I felt like the roommate
Knew a little bit more.
should have known a little bit more.
I mean, was he seeing anybody? Was there a girl?
Exactly. And now, was this the roommate or the friend? Was he just the roommate, or was this the roommate friend that they were going to
Look for an apartment.
Like, it's just so many inconsistencies and so many holes that it's just like, I don't know.
And how about this group, the Pershing Rifles? I mean, I know that they're an elite military organization, but sometimes these groups and teams, just like fraternities,
Yep.
when you're inducted into these groups, when you're accepted into these groups, oftentimes they have rituals, hazing, things that they do
To prove your
worthiness
Yeah.
of the group to
Yeah.
kind of where sometimes they do these initiations where they put you through all these tests, and fraternities are known for hazing, and there's been people that died from hazing.
Absolutely.
What if it was something like that? I mean,
And it
his
was
mom
wrong.
said he doesn't go anywhere alone. Maybe he was meeting his team, his group, this organization, and they were
That's a very good point. Very good point.
welcoming him into the club, and
And were
wrong.
were any of them ever questioned?
So everything is a theory. Everything is a
Yes.
conspiracy. There's
Yes.
no solid evidence, no solid answers,
At all.
no. Wow.
At all, which is, I believe, is why Deborah is hanging on to
Hope.
every
Absolutely.
single ounce of hope, as a mother would. How we always talk about these cases where we know what happened to the victims. We
Right.
know, but how terrible must it feel for you to have a child? And in her interview with Fox 43, I believe, she stated that before Jason, she suffered a miscarriage. She miscarried a child.
Aww.
So she says that it's so heartbreaking that she had miscarried her first child, and now the only child, because Jason was the only child, is gone as well. Without a trace, without any type of clues, like nothing.
That's
nothing.
horrible. That's horrible.
It's I can't even imagine how she feels, to have your son, or to be so proud that he's gone to, he's in school and he's happy and he's gotten into this elite group, and then it's all taken away.
Well, thank you for joining us for episode 3 of Crime and Unwind with Denise and Aixa.
Yes.
Hope you'll join us for our next one.
Bye.